What does Zyn really give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but also real freedom to do more of what you love, when and where you want to do it. Why bring Zyn along for the ride? Because America's #1 nicotine pouch opens up all the possibilities of right now. With Zyn, you don't just find freedom, you keep finding it. Find your Zyn. Learn more at Zyn.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo. Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Shadowing it.
Greg, is there any chance I can get any access to the private thoughts that you were having a second ago that made you, even though we were all sitting in silence here, smile to yourself because you were thinking of something privately that you'd like to share? Or is it a public thought? Can it be a public thought?
It can be a public thought. I was a little embarrassed by myself because I put my 2 books on display for the camera to notice, and I was very careful to position them, and I was both happy to do it and embarrassed and ashamed of myself at the same time.
Definitely the second part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you are a self-aggrandizing self-promoter. I thought you were proud of that. You do it with no shame while you're here.
That's true. Well, you 2 haven't written books, so you wouldn't understand, but when you write a book...
By choice.
When you write a book, it's something you're very proud of. It's like, these are my 3rd and 4th children, is the way I look at it.
Which are you prouder of, your books or your children?
It depends on how my children are behaving.
Which did you put more work into?
Yeah.
Probably the books.
If you were to rank your books and your children 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all equal. How would you rank them?
I would rank The Pride of a Lion ahead of the Back in My Day book, which is just a compilation.
And both ahead of Michael and Christopher?
Yeah, well, I always go chronologically with my sons.
But the rankings can always change.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah, of course.
But the books never leave the top rankings, do they? The books are always ahead of the sons.
Well, the books are totally different. I mean, how can you compare?
No, on these it's the same. You created 4 offspring, 2 human offspring and 2 literary offspring.
Right.
Rank your favorite of your 4 offspring.
No, I will say the books never disappoint me.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I believe that I was just witness to what is the greatest compliment our show can give. You guys tell me if you think there's a greater compliment or a harder to achieve compliment than what I'm about to say. Billy Gill came in here today not merely excited, but saying out loud, verbally communicating that someone had impressed him. It's hard to impress Billy Gill. He's got a very high standard for being impressed publicly. Chris, I mean, I know Billy's disagreeing with me already because he's disagreeable, especially on Tuesdays. Yeah, no, I know. But you being impressed is something that I find hard to come by. So I was even more stunned when I found out who you were impressed by.
I've been impressed by 2 people. I was handing out compliments like they were candy on Halloween. I complimented Greg on his shoes. I said Greg has great-looking shoes today. I was impressed by someone and a feat of athleticism that I saw on the internet. And then I had, if I could channel my inner Joan Rivers, I saw some fashion faux pas today, but we're not going to get into that. So.
That's not any of what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, I'm just telling you. I was handing out cookies. I was handing out compliments like it was Halloween candy. I told you. Greg's shoes. I saw a fashion faux pas that we're not going to talk about. And then I had this feat of athleticism that I saw on the internet yesterday, if you would like to check your screen. Dan Graziano tweeted at Peloton 100 days away from a pretty special milestone. Dan Graziano has worked out 1,900 days in a row on Peloton. That can't be true. 1,900 1,900 days in a row on Peloton, it keeps track for you digitally. So what you're saying is that I did the math. That's over 5 straight years that Dan Graziano every single day has done a Peloton workout of some kind. And he has the digital receipt right there that's tracked by his app.
You believe that?
Well, what you're accusing it. Well, the only way this could be faked is if he goes and he starts a workout and lets it running that he's not participating in.
I mean, that's a very busy guy, especially during football season. Greg, you know, as somebody who follows football, there's a lot of things you're doing. You're going over here, you're flying over there, you're writing a column here, you're doing a podcast over there.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, you got 1,900 days in a row that you're going to be doing Peloton.
He's traveling every weekend during football season.
Well, okay, not to make this a commercial, but Peloton with the app, you can do workouts pretty much anywhere.
All right, but he's not sick one day where it's like, all right, guess what? Today, the one day I'm sick, I can't do Peloton.
Not him. Apparently not. 1,900 straight days. We have the receipts right there. And by the way, as someone who regularly, I don't want to say cheats on their Peloton streaks, but has creative ways around it, you set up a 5-minute sleep meditation. You just fall asleep while it's playing. Boom. That's a day right there.
Yep.
1,900, very impressive. I haven't even gotten to 50, even doing my sleep meditations where I just literally fall asleep while the app is playing. Incredible.
Tony, would you do me the favor, please, of looking up for me Skip Bayless's crazy workout streak? Because I think he's missed 2 days in like 20 years. I will say to you, many people might not know this. Dan Graziano used to be a fat person. Dan Graziano came up through this market as a fat person. I recognize.
Whoa.
Well, what? I recognized a peer. I'm not saying it as an insult. It was a mirror for me. I've been impressed by his work. I'm not insulting him. He used to be very heavy, and then he took up obsessive-compulsive running, and he's gotten very fit. One of the great survivors in the history of ESPN. There have been a lot of cuts there. Graziano's safe because football's safe. Football's Around the Horn's gone because I'm assuming ESPN needs more football. Like the ratings were fine on Around the Horn. It's just more football. Everybody likes football. Get Graziano. He talks football. There used to be more of him. I don't mean it as an insult. He was probably motivated in some ways that I was not to exercise every day.
Oh, you mean literally, not like Ed Werder types.
He does look great. He is very fit, and he exercises every day, and he has kept that weight off. There was no fluctuation with that weight. There used to be. But then once he started working out every day, the fluctuation on the weight stopped. And also once he realized, oh, look, a television career. Not a lot of fat people on television.
Presents very well. No doubt. This recent fitness kick of his, well, I think 5 consecutive years.
Yeah, it's not that recent.
It's not even a kick at that point. Yeah, that certainly helped his job security, no doubt.
So I'm on bicycling.com, which is an actual website, and it says how this ESPN reporter has kept up a 324-day Peloton streak, and it was about Dan Graziano, and it was written in 2021.
Whoa.
Who owns that website? Is that Stugotz? Did Stugotz finally get one of them?
It's actually realbicycling.com.
I don't mean to be a naysayer here, but am I the only one who thinks there's a little too much braggadocio in a guy who tweets out that he has a 1,900-day streak of exercising? Because I tell you what. No.
Wait till 2000.
Hell no, because at certain points, he's had a 4-year streak of working out every day, and we didn't know about it.
Yeah, so he had to get to 5. Should have waited till 10.
Well, but you know what they do, though? Like, you get the update on the Peloton. Okay, congratulations, 1,900 days. And there's that
a badge
clip on the bottom where it's share with your Twitter. And so we clicked on it, you know, and there you go.
Okay.
Your books are on the table.
That's a good point. But I'm not bragging about how many books I've sold or what streak I have of
You just got done saying you're prouder of your books who have never disappointed you than you are of your sons.
I didn't exactly say that, did I?
I want to hear these rankings.
Yeah. You did say that. You
I
said
think that's exactly what you said.
I said my books have never
Word
disappointed
for word.
me. That's the only thing I said.
It implies.
No, that's fine. I mean, you know, let's. But and love Dan Graziano. Don't get me wrong.
Sounds like it.
Well,
I think he could walk in the room and I actually used to work with him. I was going to say that's actually.
Well, he used to be a fatso, according to Dan, so he may not recognize him.
You know what? I love that he's lost a lot of weight. I love that he exercises, but people who don't exercise fanatically don't want to hear about other people, you know, having great feats on a treadmill or something.
So what you're saying is instead of putting out his streak, he should just put out a picture of his Peloton. Like you just put out a picture of your book or just sit your book on the table. Just put your Peloton there and then we could just admire his Peloton.
Yeah, and let people surmise.
Exactly.
Can I stop you for a second? And I want to get Tony's Skip Bayless fact in a second, but I've lost Mike Ryan. He's off to sea, and I've noticed this over the last couple of years. It doesn't happen that often in the morning where we have live sports television that allows gambling. But Mike Ryan is gone because he's looking at a television here. What are you watching that you have action on that makes you a specific kind of degenerate on a Tuesday morning?
We got a sicko's delight inside the ACC. The ACC baseball tournament is underway. Classic ACC matchup between Cal and Miami. This game, first pitch was at 6 a.m. Pacific time for those watching at Berkeley. We got underway with a bunt single. I am locked in, positively dialed.
They started at 6 a.m. playing baseball?
Pacific time.
9 a.m.
This is at the Durham
game's
Bulls.
here.
Well, no, it's in Durham.
I mean, East Coast, though.
Yeah, East Coast. But Cal, ACC member.
Yeah, okay.
This is a 6 a.m. start for
So
their
9 a.m.
natural,
local, but 6 a.m. back there.
for their body clocks. Yeah, they probably pulled up to the stadium. Their bodies thought it was like 4:30 a.m.
Looks like there's 63 people there.
Yeah, really. It looks like a Marlins crowd.
I thought you were saying it was at Berkeley. I don't know that there's a lot more absurd between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. on a Tuesday for a baseball game. They're both pretty absurd.
That's some Dan math going on. You send a lot of early texts.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say the difference is 3 hours.
It's a major difference between 6 and 9.
To their bodies, you think the guys in California right now the guys playing for California feel a lot different than they would 6 a.m. back home right now, opening at 9 a.m. Because my guess is they were up at 6 anyway.
For the Cal guys, it probably got into town at like 9 p.m. too. They might as well have played it at 2 a.m.
But they're not getting up at like 10 to 6. They're preparing.
That's right. What I'm saying is the difference is between 6 and 9 isn't the 3 hours that you think it is. It's the difference between 3 and 6 because of all the preparation they have to do before first pitch. Like they're actually getting up at the time you're alleging they're not getting up. They're just not playing at 6 a.m., but they're sure as shit up at 6 a.m.
Late May is always great for the sickos. You got the baseball conference tournaments going on, and pretty soon we have Roland Garros. So your boy's going to be knee-deep in action by the time 4:30 a.m. rolls around.
What do you make of the obsessive compulsiveness I'm talking about? Because workout people who work out every day are absolutely the people who are telling you they
love
work
to
out.
tell you.
They're working out every day. They're showing you the receipts. They're on the gram telling you about their workouts. There are very few people who work out every day, and no one knows that they're working out every day.
We don't talk about
We
that,
don't
Mike.
talk at all about that. No, we just show you guys incredible results without mentioning how
Lifting iron, pumping iron. That's
Dude,
what we do.
we're stacking plates in that iron
Caddies.
table all the time. What'd you have for breakfast? A 45 plate?
Clanging and banging.
Thank you.
What is the Skip Bayless stat?
Speaking of clanging and banging, so he works out 3 times a week with weights, and then he does cardio every single day. On Sundays, he does something special where he does an 8-mile run, and then the last mile, he does it at a faster pace than all the other ones. But he's also training his mind and doing mental stimulation as well.
You got to give me, though, the stat, please. 2 missed workouts in 20 years. There's a specific stat involved that Skip Bayless throws around.
It's no Graziano, I'll tell you that right now.
We're now going to have to get on Graziano.
I found a picture of him on his bike, Greg, if you want to question whether or not he's actually... Look at
Right,
that
I'm
guy.
looking at it.
Look at those tries. Oh,
Yeah, okay.
What do you mean, okay? What are you mocking
it's
Graziano
just,
for?
that's 5 years old, that photo
The whole
also.
exercising culture, you know.
I'd like to see what mile he's on. Like, do we know it's not like LeBron where he's on the first page of the book?
Wow.
Good
Come on,
point.
guys. He has boxing gloves in the background of this photo. He has what seems to be a weight rack behind him. Like,
Yeah,
there's clearly
strategically
results.
placed.
Small weight rack.
Well, I
Very
don't
small.
understand what you guys are doing. You're questioning whether or not someone's working out. And then we're praising Skip Bayless, who skipped 2 days in 20 years. Like, why is that praiseworthy?
Well, hold on. It's been longer than 20 years, by the way. So he's not missed a single cardio workout since May 3rd, 1998.
Oh, bullshit.
Due to a sinus infection, by the way, Dan. And he has not missed a lifting day since 1982.
They didn't even lift weights in 1982.
Oh,
What,
buddy.
he invented weightlifting? Like, get out of here. When were the Bash Brothers? When was that? That was like 89.
Late 80s.
They invented weightlifting and steroids.
How about Arnold?
No, please, Arnold.
What do you mean?
It was the Bash Brothers at Batard Show.
Jose Canseco invented weightlifting. We all know it. You can tag him. He'll retweet it. He'll confirm it. I guarantee you by day's end. Thank you.
Howdy, listeners. It's Mike. This is one of the best times of the year. You're caught up in the emotion of the playoffs. Big-time crucial games, going to games, hanging with your boys, hanging with your ladies, hanging with your family, and having a good old-fashioned time. Well, I can speak from experience. I've been doing all those things, but I've been doing so with a Miller Lite by my side because having good times is great. Making those good times a Miller time makes it an unbelievable time, a time of your life, with Miller Lite, a brand and a beverage that has been around for 50 glorious years. That's hard to do. Remain popular and delivering on great flavor for 50 years, brewed with simple ingredients, none of the fluff, just real flavor. Malted barley gives it that rich, balanced coffee note taste and the iconic golden color that just hits right every time. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Dan Batard.
What do I got here? I got a Magnum condom. We won't get that out.
That's shocking.
Stugotz.
Here's a picture of Christopher when he was like 3 years old.
Right next to the condom.
Yeah.
As a subtle reminder.
Never forget.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Did the Bash Brothers invent weightlifting? You guys have now criticized. You said that can't be true, and you called bullshit on everything we were saying here. Let me play this Shaq sound for you guys, because this is something else. We need a new segment, That Ain't True, or That's Bullshit, where we just accuse someone straight of lying. Shaq does this all the time. Shaq doesn't care what he has to say in order for people to pick up what he said, and so here is Shaq lying.
In 1992, I think the draft was in June or something, I meet Mr. Stern in March. And he says to me, hey, know who you are. Can't wait for you to come to the NBA. Then he pulls me to the side. You want to play where it's cold or where it's hot? He asked me that. Yeah, he did. He asked me that, and I was like, hot. And he smiled, and I smiled. And then a couple of days later, they had the draft thing and, the top three things. And then Minnesota was number 3. I was like, and then Charlotte was number 2, and then Orlando, Florida was number 1. I was like, I didn't think anything about it, but, you hear a lot of these conspiracy theories, and, there's a lot of situations that could make these things sound good and sound true. Like, okay.
What are you shaking your head about?
Judge Zaz?
I love him so much, but he is so full of shit. I mean, we're talking something that was over 30 years ago, so it's definitely like a game of telephone. Where
the man is dead. Who
Yes.
Like, this is the best way to tell lies.
Yes.
The dead do not tell lies. The dead do not rebut arguments.
And he would never make that claim if that man, David Stern, were still alive, all right? Because David Stern doesn't even have to be the commissioner anymore to call Shaq into his office after he says
waited plenty of time just to make sure he was dead before he made that allegation. Because you do not make that allegation while David Stern is alive or while he's being mourned recently after dying. You wait several years to do that.
Look, Shaq was a big-time prospect. We knew he was going to go number 1 overall. But how does it benefit David Stern or the NBA to send Shaq to the exact location he wants to go to? Don't forget, Shaq did no winning at LSU. None. How does it benefit the NBA or Shaq? Shaq, where do you want to go? Got it. How does that benefit the league?
Let's think about for a second Shaq doing no winning at LSU while Stanley Roberts was playing next to him. They had 2 NBA 7-footers, and Dale Brown didn't know how to win with them. LSU also has winning 10 games with Ben Simmons on its roster and not making the NIT tournament. That's some historic bad from LSU on getting first-round talents and not being able to do anything with it.
And that's when Ben Simmons was good.
Well, they didn't make the NIT with a number 1 overall pick.
Coach's fault.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is it impossible to not make the NIT if you have a healthy number 1 pick playing well? Because you're right, Ben Simmons wasn't what he is now, where he can't make a jumper back then.
I did some research into this Arnold Schwarzenegger situation. Apparently, he won weightlifting contests in 1964 and 1965. He also won the 1967 Munich stone lifting contest, in which a stone weighing 508 German pounds is lifted between the legs while standing on 2 footrests. 508 German pounds, in case you're wondering, is 560 regular pounds.
I don't know what that means.
It means he invented weightlifting.
I don't know the difference between German pounds and regular pounds.
It's about 52 when you get to 560 regular.
I thought we all did the same kinds of pounds.
Yeah, I did too. Don't they use kilograms in Germany?
Well, that
Yeah,
would make
254 kilograms, 560 pounds, 508 German pounds.
I've never heard the phrase German pounds.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is there such a thing as German pounds? Are German pounds different, I guess, than American pounds?
So looking here, it says the Anglo-American pound is about 453 grams, where a German pound is just half a kilogram, which is 500 grams. So that's once you extrapolate that over
What
many,
other
many
kind
pounds,
of what other kinds of pounds are there? Who else has, like, I didn't know Germans had their own pounds. How many other kinds? Do the French have their own pounds?
There's sand.
Pound cake.
Oh yeah.
This is our metric system. They can't play fast and loose with our metric system. We're not trying to. Or wait, unless we are. Are we trying to tell them what a kilogram is? No. I don't think so.
I want to get to this hockey game tonight. We have another hockey game tonight, and we have the Final Four in both sports. And we haven't heard yet from Mike Ryan on having to eat the public shame of the following. One, Brad Marchand is the greatest playoff scorer against the Maple Leafs that isn't named Gordie Howe. And Brad Marchand is presently the Panthers' point leader during the playoffs.
I feel no shame. I don't understand what you continually try to do. I don't like Brad Marchand. That's fine. He's a key contributor on a team that's in the Eastern Conference Finals. I move on. My team is in the Eastern Conference Finals for the third consecutive year. I don't have to like the guy, nor do I have to make it a thing.
Oh.
The thing that I'm trying to make you eat is that you've been wrong about his contributions. And furthermore, the other thing I'm trying to make you eat that we didn't get to nearly enough yesterday is I heard Paul Maurice say he didn't want to use the word hate. Hate's a strong word, but that he thought Brad Marchand was the total opposite of what Brad Marchand actually is. And then what he says is he's a wonderful human being.
A lot of people that work in hockey that I'm close to tell me that I would absolutely love Brad Marchand if I ever met him, and I don't want to meet him. I don't have no interest in meeting the person. And I would say Brad has been a very good winger on what has been Florida's most consistent line for 3 playoffs now. You want to make the argument that he's been Florida's best player of the playoffs? That's a strong hand. I would disagree. I think his line mate on the other side of the wing, Luosterainen, has been phenomenal this playoff.
And Maurice gave Marchand credit for that. I disagree. That line has been good for 3 years. It has not been this for 3 years.
It has always been the line to get someone jump started.
It's always been a really good third line.
Well, but I don't want to defend Mike in this spot because God knows he's way off base when it comes to Brad Marchand. But that third line, like we could say that Marchand has helped make that line. Those are 2 super young players in Lundell and Luosterainen. Like they were going to continue getting better.
And they were never our best line in the last couple years playoffs. I'll keep saying this. They were a good third line. Mike is not wrong, but he's painting it like they were our best line.
I think when it comes to expectation, salary, devotion, and consistency, the third line's been Florida's best line for 3 playoffs. So and what I'm doing is a bit of a rhetorical trick because all the other lines have been pretty interchangeable, whereas in the third line, 2 names are written in Sharpie. Unless Barkov's injured and then they move Lundell up. It's Lundell and Luosterainen.
Let's play the sound from last year. If you do not remember, and God, we made a lot of fun of Rod Brindamore, one of the great names in the history of...
Such a meathead coach.
In the history of hockey. He doesn't think that Carolina was swept last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, excuse me. Even though, statistically, historically, in all the places we keep records and books, and not even AI can distort, it'll be remembered forever as a sweep. There's no other phrase for it. It doesn't have an asterisk on it. But he's also not wrong when he says the games were close and that everything was tight.
Okay, but so what is he saying? That sweeps are usually blowouts for 4 games? Like, who came up with that explanation?
Well, let's relive it in his own words because it begins again tonight. There's no rest for the champions. They immediately have to fight Carolina, and this. You say no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
But I say this will keep getting harder. I will say that Tampa was tough and Toronto was tough, and in order to win,
Tampa was tough. It's a cakewalk.
Only took me 5 games to get past.
Yeah, you even watched the series? Jeez Louise.
Can you tell me what a cakewalk is? Do you know what a cakewalk is?
You're not going to like this. You should not even mention it anymore.
I don't know what a cakewalk is.
Well, we've done this before. It's racial. And,
don't say grandfathered in either.
I think that's fine.
No, it's not. Look it up.
I can.
Okay.
So grandfathered is also racial? Like Cakewalk, if I look up both of them, and I'm going to have to cancel it the way I have to cancel some Crows in 1919 Disney movies.
Well, I want to know now.
I do too. I don't remember what a cakewalk actually is. Put it on the poll. Do you know what a cakewalk actually is? And also play the Brindamore sound. Again, they were technically and historically and forevermore swept.
You know, that's the unfortunate part of this is that he's going to look back and everyone's going to say you got swept, and that's not what happened. I watched the game. I'm there. I'm cutting the game. We're in the game. We didn't lose 4 games. We got beat, but it's. You know, we were right there, and this could have went the other way, and it could have been 4 games the other way. And tonight, you know, the way it ended is tough. Getting a penalty like that, that's tough. You know, especially what was let go, and then you go, oh, that's gonna sting. But not to take anything away from the other team because they played hard. But you know, I think we took a huge steps this year. You know, coming this far, like I said, with what we were missing is pretty impressive.
I'm glad he's not taking anything away from the Panthers, who swept them, and also acknowledges that the Panthers played hard. That's a good job out of Meathead Rod Brindamore. But we didn't get swept. I was there. I watched it.
He said we got beat, but we didn't lose.
Right.
What?
I don't know what's going on there.
See, that's common for hockey coaches, though, right? Like Paul Maurice, after their series clinching 6-1 victory,
said how close it was.
Emphasized how close the game was. Okay, so coaches
wasn't he more so emphasizing how close the series was? It was 7 games.
The game was not close. 75 shots. 75 shots in 2 periods is not a close game.
My dad is right. Even after the game 5, I'm telling you, he does this thing where he doesn't want his team to get too high, so he's just like, I know it's 6-1, but these are close.
Okay, but then that's not what Brindamore's doing there because his season's over because he got swept.
In the history of Game 7s at home, there's only been one other that's been played that's not close. So that Toronto game at the end was not close in any way, not mathematically, not historically.
The cakewalk originated in the antebellum South, where enslaved black people would perform stylized dances that mocked the formal European-style dances of their white enslavers. These dances were often held at gatherings on plantations.
Let's not put that poll up that we just asked for.
The phrase grandfathered in originates from discriminatory practices in the southern United States after the Civil War, particularly in the context of voting rights.
Whoa!
You will not be able to make cancel culture so restrictive that I cannot walk around cakes. Me and Graziano are going to walk around cakes whenever we want.
Not anymore. Graziano will bike around them. Keep going.
I can't believe grandfathered is racist.
I'm surprised by that, too.
Grandfathers altogether are racist.
Well, generally, you know what? I should have known.
Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Are grandfathers as a group, is the median grandfather racist?
It's going to be like 95%.
And then you just always say, well, they're from a different time. That's what everyone says about their grandfather. It's different time.
Is the median grandfather racist? I think we can answer. I'm going to put that question down.
It's honestly the only unifying thing is every grandfather of every person of every race is racist.
That home
Every
run,
race.
Every race.
Really?
That home run ball may stay in that seat for the entirety of the game. There's nobody there. There is no one there to fetch it. It is just hanging around.
2-0 Cal.
There's the Durham Bull from Bull Durham. Is that the Bull Durham? Is that behind right field? Did California just go up 2-0 with a home run that hit the snorting, smoking bull in right field?
No, it hit an empty chair, but the snorting bull snorted.
Is that the Bull Durham Bull that they just showed?
Yes, it's in Durham.
Okay,
yes, that's where the Bulls are playing.
What a coincidence that would be.
It looks, though, like it has been updated from the movie Bull Durham because the one I remember was not quite that new. It had been banged up by home run balls.
I would assume they've done some major facelift to the baseball stadium in Durham over the last 30 years.
Considering the number of people there or number of people that aren't there, do you think they're not chasing that home run ball because they know that a ball is going to come closer to them at some point in the game?
Precisely. Like, we'll get the next one, kid.
Forgive me for this. Executive producer Chris Cody forgot to play the song we were supposed to play at the top of the show that involves Greg Cody, his father.
Blow Canada, another Game 7 down the drain. From Edmonton to Toronto, the Florida Panthers bring the pain. Blow Canada, A first Stanley Cup since '93 would be nice. Instead, our nation's fallen tears make up our sheets of ice. Brad Marchand owns the Leafs. It cannot be debated. Just as sure as all Canucks know Connor still muck overrated.
A good executive producer decision to not open the show with that. Greg Cody's second Blow Canada type of song, making fun of the Canadian anthem. It's still several behind the Row, Row, Row Your Boat renditions he has done when he quit actually trying
Why
to be
don't you play a couple of those?
When
the row, row, row
Those are
your
suspect at this point.
When he quit trying to be the singing sports writer because he ran out of songs and they all became a form of Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Well, Greg's a grandfather now. He's from a different time.
That was not a row, row, row your boat. That was an O Canada parody.
I know. I was saying that's second only to, because you're now in reruns on the O Canada parodies.
Well, it's a classic. When you do something twice, 2 years in a row, you're not running out of ideas. You're continuing a classic. You're making it an annual event.
So you're like telling a story almost.
Yes, but you're changing the lyrics to adapt to the times. Like Marchand would not have been mentioned in my O Canada parody a year ago.
It's like Fast and the Furious. It's an icon that withstands time. You get to keep bringing it back because people want it brought back.
Correct.
Star Wars, Mission Impossible. There's a new Mission Impossible coming out. It may get me to theaters, Dan.
Yeah, it's a franchise.
I don't know.
The Final Reckoning?
Maybe. It's not the final
Is it the Final Reckoning or just Final Reckoning?
Final Reckoning.
There's no the in there?
No the.
Well, I don't understand. Like, Billy doesn't go to movies? Is that what we're talking about here?
Not theaters, no. I'm not a theater guy. Are you?
Yeah.
You go? Why?
Because I like movies.
Yeah, but you can watch them at home.
No, but I go to 2 movies in the theater. We go to all the superhero movies, the Zaslow men. We go to those in the theater. And we go to all the horror movies in the theater, too.
All of them. Why'd you say
all
it like
of
that?
them. Because we like horror movies.
Do you ever go to the IMAX or sit in the seats that move and do all of that stuff?
No, because I get vertigo, so I can't do that,
Wow, rough.
And I don't do 3D either.
The
So
Zaslow men get vertigo.
No, just
one.
me. Just me. Yeah, so I gotta be careful.
You get seasick as well?
No.
Oh.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju at Batard Show. Do you get vertigo at the moving seats during a horror movie?
No, the moving
Batard
ones,
Show.
yeah.
I know. What?
4KX, RX3, Real D thing.
I did it one time. I almost fell out of the seat.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like a roller coaster.
Nothing can prepare you for the first time that you do that.
I almost fell out.
I was sitting there with a bottle of wine. It was a bottle of red. Huge mistake.
Wow.
Okay, so I thought I was good with money. Turns out I was really good at ignoring it. Like, how am I spending this much on delivery or Uber or that one shoe store that I buy too many shoes from? Then I started using Monarch Money, and dude, it's a financial wake-up call. Monarch's not just some budgeting app. It's basically your money command center. Puts everything, accounts, credit cards, investments, into one place so you're not guessing anymore. And listen, I found stuff I didn't even know I was paying for. Since I started using Monarch, I'm tracking my spending, actually saving, and yeah, even having money check-ins with my wife, and we're looking at each other and we're like, yeah, okay, we're all good. It makes the hard stuff way easier, and over 1 million households use Monarch. It was named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. So it's not just me hyping up, it's legit. It's real. Real deal Holyfield, and get control of all of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code Dan at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code Dan.
Hey there, travelers and dreamers. We all have that dream trip that we've been wishing we could go on. But too often, life just gets in the way, whether it's work, family responsibilities, or, in my case, and I'm sure many of yours, price. But your dream trip doesn't have to stay a dream any longer, because Priceline is here to help you book it with millions of deals on hotels, flights, cruises, and rental cars. That bucket list destination? Yeah, it's a lot closer than you think. You know, I've been wanting to go see the Pittsburgh Pirates for a long time at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. That's like at the top of my list of bucket list destinations of baseball parks around the country. And because I now know about the type of deals that Priceline offers, I may pull the trigger this summer and go see those Pirates. Priceline makes it easy and stress-free to book a flight and a hotel so I can go see my team play live. With millions of travel deals like up to 60% off hotels, I know I'll be able to find great options even when I need to book last minute. So don't just dream about that next trip, book it with Priceline. Download the Priceline app or visit Priceline.com to go to your happy price.
Actual prices may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Dan Le Batard.
Is there back in my day?
There is actually.
What?
Were you not going to tell anyone?
What?
Wait a minute.
You guys, guys,
How long have I been doing this
it's
show?
a Tuesday.
Stugotz. Here's your guy, Greg Cody, with Back in My Day.
Okay, here it is. Sorry. Adultery.
Yeah,
We are back.
That is
Waiting for this one.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Can you guys please try and reach Dan Graziano and accuse him to his face of not being someone who works out all the time? Because I do want to talk in general about the person who works out all the time and the person who says he or she works out all the time. Scott Price, exceptional writer, Miami Herald, Sports Illustrated. He's on the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody this week.
Yep.
And Scott Price is somebody who many years ago for Tropic Magazine was writing an article, and he was just at the gym writing about someone on a treadmill running in place, and he made it a symbol for a generation. The vanity of running in place while staring into a mirror and never having a generation that has to endure a war itself. Just sort of like how it is we became soft and we graduated from taking photos of ourselves on the treadmill to now we're just walking around taking photos of ourselves everywhere we are, including the movie theater. We've gone from a generation that was soft because all it did was exercise instead of, picking up stones, 500 German pound stones, and throwing them into the sky. Instead of doing hard things, we just dabbled in self-involvement.
Right. And the fallacy of the whole exercise culture is that it guarantees nothing. As an example, I would say Jim Fixx, the inventor of running, died at 52.
What do you mean inventor of running?
He invented running. Jim Fixx.
He's right.
Like the Bash Brothers did invent weightlifting?
Inventing running.
You can look it up.
Well, I guess he discovered it technically, right? Is this like a classic
He's considered-
electricity thing?
Yeah, he's considered the father of the whole running.
Invent versus discovered, yeah.
Exactly. He
Put
invented
it
running,
on
died
the
at
poll
52.
at Le Batard Show. Did Jim Fixx invent running? Also, look up for me, Chris, if you could, the mistake that Stugotz made one time reading the internet poorly while I think looking up something involving Muay Thai, which he mispronounced, but he claimed reading something that someone had invented jumping, and they'd done it like 10 years previous to when we were talking about it. The jumping had not been invented before then.
So Jim Fixx is a real person, Fixx Fix, and he is credited with helping start America's fitness revolution by popularizing the sport of running.
Again with the fire alarm, huh?
We're good.
We're never going to listen to the fire alarm. Do you ever leave? Do any of you ever leave where you are? How long does it take you to leave where you are if the fire alarm is going off?
Never.
You guys never leave?
I need to see the fire.
No. In school, they used to have those, remember? They used to have fire alarms in school.
Yeah, fire drills.
Fire drills.
It's partially school's fault because they were always drills. So
Right.
I assume this is a drill.
Yeah. Do schools still do fire drills? I don't even know.
I would assume so.
And they do other drills as well that'll break your heart.
Well, that's sad. Yeah, no doubt about that. Although we did during the Cuban Missile Crisis, we had to put our head under the desk. I remember that.
That'll help you survive a bomb.
Yeah.
A nuclear one.
They thought so at the time. We all put our head under the desk.
Did you have bunkmates underneath in your bunker? Your desk bunker?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
How long do you guys wait before you leave if an alarm is going off? At some point, I know in my building, where it is that I live, if it's going off for more than 10 minutes, I do not want to die a fiery death while being upstairs because a fire is gathering. After 10 minutes, I will have to evacuate because that seems like a horrible way to die.
If I smell smoke. If I smell smoke for myself, I'll be like, all right, this confirms earlier reports.
Could be real.
I
But do
wait
you
for
stop?
someone in charge.
Yeah, I thought you had to stop, drop, and roll if you saw fire.
No, that's if you get caught.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine just seeing fire and stop, drop, and roll?
You're outside,
Yeah, I mean-
like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
It always seemed like an odd thing to do, but I was like, whatever you say, officer.
Well, that's how to put yourself out if you're on fire.
Really? Is that so?
Yeah, you stop,
all right,
drop,
look,
and
he's
roll.
not listening, so I'm going to have to.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for not listening.
I was listening.
In Greg's defense, Billy is moving very quickly today.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. He knows.
It's hard to follow.
It's too bad here because you probably wanted to talk Lionel Messi, saying this is a complicated time for
too bad.
Inter Miami, losing 3-0 to Orlando City, lost 5 of their last 7. We can't get your expertise on this, so we're going to have to settle for Mike's.
3-0.
Club World Cup coming up, and they're taking a shit.
Okay, you can leave now. You can leave. Okay, all right, hold on a second. All right, what is this one?
2 minutes right here in the shipping container for trying to leave.
You're on a roll.
You were
he
so
comes
good
in here?
yesterday, too, man.
Wait, then he comes into here?
It says leaving on the button.
He's just chilling in the bullpen.
He doesn't respect what we're doing around here, and it's problematic. Lionel Messi, I worry that this is the end of things, only because I keep expecting him and that team to age, and once they get to the losing of 5 of 7, I'm assuming aging's going to happen here at some point to these people, correct?
Wait, so do you see a scenario where like he doesn't even make it to the new stadium?
I'm saying that 5 out of 7 losses with a team that Lionel Messi is on and healthy, given what I've seen is the difference between him and everyone else playing in that league. I don't understand losing 3-0 to Orlando City, and I don't understand Messi playing minutes and them losing 5 out of 7 games if he's on the field the entire time.
They've kind of fallen off the face of the earth, really, after they lost to Vancouver. They've had a lot of fixtures, more fixtures than most MLS teams because of the deep run in that specific competition. But his contract expires December 31st.
Yeah, is next year an option in the new stadium?
If you're looking for signs of encouragement, his friend Jordi Alba, who joined Inter Miami around the same time, a Barcelona teammate, did just extend to 2027. I haven't done reporting on Messi since I broke the biggest story in the history of South Florida sports. Wow. So I can poke around. He's getting older at a time that they're about to move into the stadium that's been put off for several years. You'd like to open that stadium with Lionel Messi, but they have a relatively unproven head coach that got off to a really fast start, and there's a little adversity here. Now, Orlando is a good team inside the Eastern Conference, but what a difference 3 weeks make. Miami was cruising atop the Eastern Conference, and now they're right in that area of like struggling to make the playoffs, but it's a long season, and they'll usually figure things out.
I think we're going to push back on it being the biggest story in the history of Miami sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think Messi coming to town is up there?
No. Oh, no. It's up there. You said it's the biggest story in the history of Miami sports.
He broke the biggest story. That he broke it. It's that he broke a story.
Well, he's saying it's not the biggest, is Zaslow's thing.
That's all right. I'm just trying to boost my own credentials by putting the story over. If I say it's the biggest story, then I make myself look better because I broke it.
Okay. I don't agree with it being the biggest story.
What'd you think it was? Lance Stevenson getting drafted by Big Three?
What's the biggest?
Michael Beasley demanding a trade from Big Three.
Yo, Michael Beasley is a Heat lifer. He was not consulted on this Lance Stevenson draft pick, and he's like, I'm out of here.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, because it's on site with Lance Stevenson.
They're playing one-on-one,
I
though.
like it.
I don't like this one bit. Lance Stevenson, you don't make that kind of acquisition in Miami.
I like it.
And where is Big Three leadership? This is right up there with Marchand. Like, this is not something that you do. You don't bring Lance Stevenson to Miami.
No, it's not like that at all. Marchand's a champion.
Credit to Michael Beasley, who I believe is also a champion. Is he not? Was he not on one of those teams?
I don't think so.
He wasn't?
No, but
he wasn't on one of the LeBron teams that made it?
So.
He was on 14 that lost.
Oh. Howdy, listeners. It's Mike. This is one of the best times of the year. You're caught up in the emotion of the playoffs. Big-time crucial games, going to games, hanging with your boys, hanging with your ladies, hanging with your family, and having a good old-fashioned time. Well, I can speak from experience. I've been doing all those things, but I've been doing so with a Miller Lite by my side because having good times is great. Making those good times a Miller time makes it an unbelievable time, a time of your life. With Miller Lite, a brand and a beverage that has been around for 50 glorious years. That's hard to do. Remain popular and delivering on great flavor for 50 years, brewed with simple ingredients. None of the fluff, just real flavor. Malted barley gives it that rich, balanced toffee note taste and the iconic golden color that just hits right every time. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.